Monday from 2 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. The Crownlands comes on, setting a song of ice and fire. After the Blackfyre, rebellion raged on. House Tremaine, a house that's always hungry. In the Game of Thrones, you win or you die for power on Encounter RP.
Hello and welcome to Encounter Roleplay on this very fine Monday as we dive back to our A Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones RPG, The Crownlands. Let's go around and say hello to our Monday crew, which is a little bit smaller than normal. I've decided to split the casts while we're doing our 2.5 hour long sessions, and today we will be focusing on Famine's Hold. Nino, how are you doing today, Lord of Famine's Hold?
Hello, I am very good, thank you very much. And yeah, let's start with the best place to be, which is Famine's Hold, right? Who cares about King's Landing? No one. We just care about being here, breeding more horses, finding out what the hell happens at the night of the feast. I don't know. We still have zero clue what happened, and I'm very concerned, very, very concerned. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. As for myself, I mean, I'm here every Monday, getting my soul wrecked by Charlie, and then after 3 hours, I'm gonna be in the Chromatic Chimera channel, having my soul wrecked by a different GM, DM Corey, for those who know him. So yeah, my Mondays are super fun. I love it.
That's the spirit. Speaking of GM Corey, I should mention our meat grinder is currently accepting applications, and it is the man himself who is running it. So please do go and check that out. Over on Discord is where we handle all of the sign-ups for our monthly charity stream, which will be on the 29th of March this month at 3 p.m. Eastern. Shauna, how you doing, friend?
I'm doing good. I'm just going to enjoy this month before whatever shoe drops in King's Landing, and we're all in a bunch of deep trouble. But yeah, you can, other than this, you can find me on Off Table, where we play Terrible Gods on Rebirth on Wednesdays, and on Tuesdays on Little Red Dash Channel we play Heim, a Viking game where we're just trying to survive.
Just trying to survive is a noble goal in, I think, most RPGs. But someone who I hope does more than just survive. The wonderful Matt returns to us this week, aka the Killer GM. How you doing, Matt?
Oh, doing wonderful, Charlie. Thanks for asking. Looking forward to seeing what we can get up to this week out at Famine's Hold. Maybe see if not some forward motion, maybe at least getting some things pointed in the right direction and getting people on the same page. Hopefully. Otto is completely unaware of the terrible, terrible doom that is barreling down right now. And so he's just going to keep on keeping on as he has been for the past few days. So we'll deal with that. I'm Matt the Killer GM. You can find me online at the Killer GM on Twitter, where you find me ranting about games, nerdery, and whatnot. I run my own game, The Dreadful Beat of DJ Strahd, a retroverse remix of the Curse of Strahd game. Every other Wednesday. We're supposed to play last night. We had to postpone because it's tough times. People weren't feeling so great. So we'll be back again in a couple weeks for the next installment, which is WrestleVania 20XX. And it is going to be awesome. So, yeah, that's what I'm up to.
That sounds amazing. Holy shit. Alright, well that's something to follow. Why don't I hand over to Past Charlie to tell you about something else amazing, and that is our sponsors. Before we begin today's show, I would like to take some time to remind you about our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer and 40k minis for up to 20% off regular retail price. And Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. Go and check them out at tabletoploot.com. Sorry, I get my bop on when that stinger plays. Thank you so much to all of those wonderful sponsors, and another sponsor, or rather a partner that I would like to shout out is Wild Anvil, who we have partnered with all of this season to bring you all of the juicy information about our games, including this one. I failed over the weekend to get Wild Anvil updated because I just wanted to stay in bed and not do anything. But I promise this week we are going to have all of the characters up there with some stats. I'm just waiting for a few updated player sheets, and that will be going up there. I've tinkered a little bit with that brand new family tree feature, and I'm excited to see how that's going to look. And Matt will also be adding some insider knowledge about the Gaunts, our house rivals. So keep an eye out for that. I will link over in chat or down below if you're watching on YouTube. Hello. The link to our Wild Anvil for the campaign, so you can check all of that out, including our key NPCs and any of the letters that go backwards and forwards. Speaking of letters, Maester Otto, you are in the Maester's chambers preparing a note. Beside you, one of the ravens of House Tremaine has returned from delivering cries for help to other houses and is rested and ready for you to send word. You've been here, what is it now, 3 days? And it's time for you to send word to your lord.
Dear Lord Nestor, I pray this letter finds you well. I'm afraid these dark wings bear dark words. The situation is worse than we first believed with the Tremaines. In addition to all the information we'd been able to gather prior, it appears Lady Tarla has gone missing and is presumed deceased. This greatly jeopardizes the marriage the crown arranged between our two houses, risking Targaryen wrath should our ostensible alliance fall through. Had we a younger child, I might hazard they be fostered at Famine's Hold, though I would make such a recommendation reluctantly. The keep, while highly defensible, needs the touch of a steward, something dearly departed Horus was never adept at. Speaking of, Tremaine will be without a maester once you recall me back to Lancer's Rest. As you generously provided Maester Horus out of House Gaunt's pocket, the final decision will fall to you whether to request the Citadel for a replacement maester in the wake of this tragedy. At this time, I am not prepared to advise one way or the other, as the Tremaines are still adjusting to the idea of a Gaunt representative roaming their halls. I worry Lord Astor may be more shrewd than is let on. He was very brief and terse in his initial discussions with me, and was very fixated on the hows of the poisoning versus the whos. I hope he has not cast us as the immediate villains when the situation is far more complicated. There are several equal but likely possibilities in this case, with 3 likely scenarios centering on either the Sister of the Wills attempting to secure her hold of her house, Beric Baratheon trying to settle 2 old scores with 1 stone, or Bittersteel working to cause chaos and tie up loose ends from his plot at King's Landing. Jaime Waters is currently en route to the capital now, and plans on attempting to flush out the conspirators by boasting of taking over the house from Astor. We would do well to make such inquiries via our channels to see who responds to corroborate his own information. If it is a Blackfyre plot, I will advise further collaboration with House Tremaine for the sake of appearances with the Crown. Any other result will require a more careful tread, as we may wish to ally ourselves with the perpetrators against the old enemies of Gaunt, or crush them for trying to meddle your plans as you see fit, my lord. Lord Jaime himself proved fairly affable, could be a useful asset should you wish to cultivate him. Gods know having friends in King's Landing is hardly a detriment. Should you require or want more from me, you need only ask. I will dispatch another raven once I have further information to provide you. May the 7 guide our path. Your humble servant, Maester Otto. With that, we'll wrap it up and tuck it onto the Raven Lake to send off flight.
And away the raven goes out into the bright spring morning. The house itself has returned to some semblance of normality, the servants going to and fro about their duties. The wood switch continues to work with the few that remain in recovery from the sickness that has swept through the hold. And Adeline, you have been searching high and low, tracking all rumor and evidence of where Tarla could have gone. Upstream, they'd said, a boat stolen. Strangers in your woods now not here. And of course, the confrontation with your family about the letters from Della. Jaime and Allegra are now away, and you remain here, a Gaunt in your home, and Astor to be protected in the Lord's seat. What is Adeline doing this fine morning?
I think she's gonna go to Astor in a huff. She is unhappy about all these Gaunts walking around in her house. I imagine she's come back and it's just like, what the hell? What the hell are these people doing in here?
Adeline?
You. I thought
Calm
we'd be
down.
done with you by now.
Adeline,
Yeah.
you have stormed through the hold to the feast room, which has kind of finally been reopened, where Astor is sitting having breakfast. And I'm going to say collided with the Maester, who is coming in from a side door for his own means. And that's the scene we're in.
All right, what is it?
Lady Adeline, I came to partake of breakfast.
I thought you'd want to be doing work by now. It is your family on the line for this. No words?
Our family did nothing with this. We have come in the sake of camaraderie and friendship. And yet we're met with nothing but scorn as we attempt to assist you.
Oh, I know all about Gaunt friendship and friendliness. Keep an eye on you. I'm surprised that Astor even let your guards and you walk around unwatched.
Oh, but I do have a minder, you see. And he indicates the Tremaine guard that's been trailing after him. Basically stands guard outside his door, make sure he doesn't go where he shouldn't go.
Mhm.
No, your lord is quite aware of who is in his home.
Good. Still nothing from Lady Tarla, fortunately.
That is very unfortunate indeed.
You would think that, concerning everything that's been going on, Gaunt would want to send people, but as of yet, just me out there.
No,
And I
we
found
have been
nothing.
scouring. We have been scouring along our borders as I said we would.
And still yet we find nothing. She's
I mean,
dead.
she is not in.
I hate to say it.
She
It's been
could
days. She could what?
She could be dead. She could not be in the lands. But given Lady Tarla and her disposition, your assessment might be accurate. We might have to give her up for lost.
And where would that put us?
In a very precarious position.
Less precarious for us. We have lost More. This is on you. Because as
How
of
is it
right
on-
now, who has the most to gain? Who? Meet me in my quarters, and I will show you how. I have some questions to ask you.
Very well. We'll have that discussion at your leisure, my lady.
Good. Keeping me up from meeting my lord. I have some business to attend.
Of course. And he'll step out of her way.
I'll just walk in the hall. Lord Astor, thought we anything more. I'm getting tired, and my patience is running thin with all these Gaunts walking around.
I'm afraid I don't really understand what you mean. How is your patience running thin?
The fact that they're even walking around our hold. Staying here?
Yeah? What would you suggest we do instead? Cut their heads off? Send them away?
As much as I'd like to, they can stay in an adjoining town. I am not convinced of their intentions here, especially not them and not that Maester.
I am definitely not convinced as well, but the truth is, the least conflict we arrange at the moment, the best for us. I've spoken to the Maester. He seems to be genuinely trying to figure out what happened. I don't know what ulterior motives the house has, but I do not believe the Maester is the reason to blame. We should take advantage of him while he's here. Make use of his knowledge and work.
I'll soon see them out.
Yes.
Let's not forget who supplied me with those letters. Who spread that? Who do you think gave us Horus, your departed Horus?
But somehow he ended up dead, even after all those letters. And if the writer of the letters, as we discussed, has been dead for quite a few months, I still haven't wrapped my head around the entire concept and how that is possible. The prior knowledge of the hunt would have been there. I still don't understand, but the truth is, there's something bigger out there. Bigger than the Tremaines, bigger than the Gaunts. And perhaps it was the Gaunts that orchestrated this, but if they did, I don't think it was alone.
Well, then I just want to get to the bottom of this and find out who did.
Exactly. The least constraints we put on the Maester's work, then the quicker they'll leave.
Yeah. Suddenly, like, Adeline's that intensity just kind of drops. Like, she looks more tired, and just in other matters, we should discuss how we proceed. I've scoured the land as much as we could, and I haven't found anything of your sister. I hate to say that, but she might be gone.
This wasn't the news I was expecting.
It's not the news I wanted. If it was me, if I didn't know better, I'd still be searching out there, but I have trouble crossing those woods in those conditions, especially with those storms and how swift the current was. Her chances were extremely low if she was still out there.
Doesn't matter. Should keep looking. Whatever the chances are, if there's still chances, we have to do it.
I'll keep looking, but we've gone through the land multiple times. It's been days. haven't got any closer.
No one saw anything?
Nothing. There is talk of strangers in the woods, but I can't. They've been long gone, and there's been that lead has not borne any fruit. We should
But
think about how this will affect the alliance with the gods.
leave that to me. You just find Tarla.
I'll do my best. And in the meantime, I'll make sure while we're out, I'll have the guards keep as vigilant as possible. For now, I tolerate their presence, but I will not let my guard down for a second in front of them.
Wouldn't expect any other thing.
Any word from any of the other family, from Jaime or Allegra?
Not yet.
Did they make it home?
I've heard nothing, but
No.
path to King's Landing is safe. Allegra should be fine.
Where luck is going. Should hopefully have some correspondence soon. Just worry.
Yes.
I don't know
so.
who's doing this. They might target them as well. How are you holding up, Astor?
As best I can. There's not much room to think on things other than trying to figure out what happened. Somehow it's good. It shields me from other thoughts, I guess. But we'll have to figure out.
Before this, you've had a good mind for where to take this house. And you'll do a good job.
Yes, don't worry. I do. I'm feeling much better. I think all the effects of the poison have disappeared.
Well,
But I'm concentrating on figuring out the pieces of the puzzle before we do anything else with the house. I think it's important to
small
figure out what happens.
blessings.
For what it's worth, yes. What about you?
Not well. I'm not being able to find Tarla. I'm not entirely sure that I'm as qualified for this position as I thought I was. Did a great job protecting the family. To the point that even Allegra and Jaime doubt me.
Don't even think that. Those two doubt anyone, anything, everything. It's in their nature.
But we're family. It's all we have.
Yes, and it's important to have people that think like them. It's useful. I am aware of my own limitations. I'm aware of my naivety. I'm aware of my ease to speak of things I shouldn't. And looking at their actions, I learned a lot. But they're good at it, so it's good to have them on our side. And I think we're all trying to achieve the same goal here. So we must use each other's strengths, including yours.
Well, I certainly hope everyone is on the same goal.
Sadly, that's not something that we can easily check. Must hope.
I'll continue looking for Tarla. Let's get another search party. Maybe there's something we've overlooked.
Yes.
At this point,
Do
I am
this.
just bracing for the worst. And I don't know if I can take it if I find that.
It won't happen. Believe. Continue the search. And find these strange men in our lands. That is worrying.
Barring any difficulties we've had here, there's still law. And I'll make sure that stays that way.
Would never think anything else of you.
Oh. If there's anything else, I have some duties here where I have to go back out and continue on while we still can.
Do that.
All right. She'll kind of like put her arm on Astor's shoulder and kind of like give him a good shake, and it's like, we'll get through this. She'll walk back and get to her other duties around the keep.
Okay. Nuno. Astor would know that it is nearly the day of petitions. Once a month, it is tradition at House Tremaine to basically hold open court for the people, for the small folk, to come and speak with the Lord and grievances, present, donations for taxes, that kind of thing. And that will be kind of within the next day or two. With that in mind, as something that is on the horizon, is there anything anyone wants to do specifically in the next day or two here at the keep? Any conversations you'd like to pursue or any activities?
I think at a certain point, Astor would re-summon the Maester to catch up on how things are going. And this time, it would probably receive him in the hall and not in his chambers anymore.
Okay. And Matt, what were you saying?
I believe Otto is due for a conversation with Lady Adeline at some point in the imminent future as well. So Otto is in very high demand, unfortunately.
Okay. I think carrying through the energy of the last kind of scene, let's kind of pan through time to maybe the dark of an evening when Adeline's returned from kind of continuing her hunt, continuing her work, fixing things, and you will meet with the Maester again. But Matt, where in the castle does Adeline meet with you?
Believe she said she would summon him to her chambers. Which he'll probably have to leave the guards outside. Unfortunately, he will have to trust her on this. But he also understands why she's called him there. If it helps her feel safe, so be it.
Okay, and so this is in the office for the Master of Arms, right, Shauna? It's in that space near to the castle armory. People kind of to and fro through here. Adeline has kind of taken it as her small seat within the house. The weather has continued to be really temperate over the last day or so. And it has led to really chilled evenings where the clouds are not keeping in any heat. But it has somewhat lessened the damp of the place, at least, during the day.
Helps. Makes it feel less musty. And he'll knock at the door to this office.
enter.
He'll step in, close the door behind him.
She'll stand from the desk and just look at him and just... We have some matters to discuss. You and I.
I suppose we do, don't we?
I remember you. I don't know. You had to. The day I tried to sneak out with Della, you were there. Saw your face.
Yes. I was.
She kind of does the thing of where she'll walk around him, like kind of circle him. What happened to her?
And I think as this question comes forward, we're going to actually turn this into a full intrigue. So decide your character's objective. We're going to just, for the sake of this, say that Shauna, you're going first. And this is your kind of opening thing. So take a look at the sheet. Decide on your disposition towards each other. You can keep this to yourself. And then, Shauna, it's your technique, and then we'll do the rest of the game.
Okay.
For sure affectionate.
God.
Oh yeah, they love
Unfriendly.
each other. Big love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not quite to malicious yet, but we're somewhere
we
between
don't
those two.
actively want to kill each other, but let's see
Yeah.
how this goes.
Yeah.
Okay, for people watching, if you're not familiar, the disposition basically sets an armor class for social intrigue that we refer to as DR, and this soaks your composure damage, which is your hit point damage within the intrigue. All right, so
I think it will be influence.
okay.
Since it's
Are
a
you?
persuasion. Oh,
Okay, so
this
for the
is...
technique, are you intimidating, inciting, haunting?
Yeah, this is intimidation.
Okay.
So that is it's persuasion versus the true defense. All right.
Yes.
Let's get this.
And don't forget to use any of your intimidate bonus dice.
Yep. There we go.
So as you attempt to intimidate the Maester, the words, Otto, don't hit you as hard as perhaps you would believe Adeline intended them to.
Mm-hmm. No. I was there when you attempted to kidnap Lady Della.
Watch your words. Did not such thing.
True, was there. But what does that have to do with anything?
You knew what happened to her after, and I want to know. I haven't heard anything. Your family kept that from me. What happened after? Where did she go? Where is she now?
You don't know.
No.
Really don't.
Is there something I should know?
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you didn't know.
Didn't know what?
Lady Della died.
How did she die?
A sickness. It was very sudden.
And where was she there? Was she back? What family did you ship her off to?
The Nairns.
Or did you do something worse to her?
No. Why? Why would we do that?
Because you showed me a great amount of mercy when you caught us. I still remember that. I still feel that when I bend my arm. And I didn't forget about it. 9 years. She's like inches away from him.
And Matt, I'm going to encourage you to take kind of your action within this intrigue. You can do a little bit more roleplay to accompany, but I think this is a good point for Otto to make his move.
Absolutely. This is going to be a deception roll. Because, well, there are just some things that you should know.
Okay, that's versus my intrigue defense.
If I can get this thing to do it right.
So it's slash roll D and then space, however many D6 you're rolling,
Got it.
and then the number of D6
Drop
you
one.
want to drop.
Got it. Only a 7 for this.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. She was due to be married. She was of marriageable age. Had she been a younger daughter, you might have been able to make something if you really wanted to.
Don't patronize me. You would know that nothing would have come from that. With that.
It is not my place to judge. It's my place to advise and calculate.
So tell me, your family is in a much more cautious place than they. You do not understand what is circling around. You would be best to tell me without vagaries what happened to her.
What are you hinting at? If you have something, if you have some proof that our house has committed some wrong, say it now and be clear.
You first. Tell me what happened to her.
All right, Shauna, time for you to take action.
Okay, let's.
So a reminder, there are a number of actions you can take. There's influence, which is what we've been using so far. Consider, fast talk, mollify. You can quit, leave the intrigue altogether, read target to get a better understanding of your enemy in the intrigue. Shield of reputation, withdraw, and yield. So all of those you'll find on the first page of that cheat sheet.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think she'll use this moment to kind of get at his disposition. So I'm going to do retarget. So that's awareness versus deception. Okay.
Yeah, versus your passive perception.
Yep.
Okay. Let me just...
I think it's an awareness empathy test, Shauna.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
That's fine. Just straight advice. 14?
Yeah. He is absolutely unfriendly right now.
I mean...
Like, duh,
I mean-
but...
That makes... I mean, it's good to have the... Even if it is obvious.
Lay
I don't have a clear idea of what Maester Otto is capable of, so it's good to know that, even if it is obvious.
Mm-hmm. And you'll know that he just tried to influence you.
Mm-hmm.
And you will have that +1 test dice for your next persuasion test.
All right.
Otto kind of steps back for a moment. Lady Della was very sick. You can't possibly understand the strain the family was under with her to make sure she was cared for.
Understand enough. Care for a loved one that is sick and dying. Continue.
I can, yes. It's unfortunately all too common in these times. Otto is sitting back and considering.
Okay. So as you make a consider roll, you give up your action in exchange to get 2 bonus dice for the next part of the exchange. Shauna, you see the Maester kind of go to this quiet place, I imagine, the conversation physically moving back from you. And it's Adeline's turn.
Now, let's not speak of that maester that your house so generously provided, late Master Horace. If we knew ahead of time that he was ill of mind, we would not have accepted him. What is so funny?
Of the things I would call Horace, ill of mind is not one of them. Sharp, canny, a little soft, not unlike Lord Astor. But ill of mind? Hardly.
Matt, I'm going to award you 1 bonus dice for your next roll. Just a reminder, you cannot roll more bonus dice than you have ranks in a skill.
Absolutely. No, Master Horace was very well suited to the position that he was in.
As suited as he was, he had some interesting little activities.
Really?
Yes.
What would those be?
The man had been holding onto some letters that have been passed to me. And he had a fervor about him, regardless of them. Something that might be pertain very much to what I am talking about, and the perils that your family is in if things do not improve.
Shauna, would you like to make a roll at this point, as it's your turn in the initiative with Adeline?
Yes. I think before that, she's going to kind of juice it up by just saying, you know the reason that I wasn't there. I was out when the sickness spread, when the feast was being enjoyed. What reason would I have to be out there? And she will take letter that she got from Dell and just slam it on his chest. Read that. She put like a lot of force in there. Like she just like maybe like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his hand flickers down to his belt for a moment. You see it like near the hilt of a dagger, and then he stops when he realizes that you've got the letter instead.
And Shauna, you can have a +1 bonus dice to your next roll.
Okay. That is influence. Intimidate.
Intimidate,
so
yeah.
I have an extra bonus dice from the previous read.
Correct. You have a +1 test dice, so roll that as if you have an additional rank in the skill.
Okay.
And then a bonus dice is a bonus dice from me, in addition to any of your intimidate bonuses.
Okay.
In case anyone's wondering about the bonus dice that I'm gifting, this is a cool part of the Song of Ice and Fire system where the GM can gift bonus dice to players who make good roleplay arguments, and players can also gift the GM bonus dice when they, as NPCs, make good roleplay arguments.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. But you can also give the players extra dice by donating to the game. The options are down below.
13.
Yes. 1 degree of success.
Okay, that's what I'm good for.
So the damage will be, Shauna, 1 times your will rank.
1 times my will rank is 3.
Yeah, that's getting tanked.
Yeah, we are.
My little not social intrigue babies.
we're just gonna yell at each other until we're like hoarse in the throat. We're just like,
that's okay, because you can always decide to yield, to come to a compromise, or to quit if there is no ground gained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But all right, so Leto is thrust against you, Maester, as Adeline throws her words and evidence and beseeches you to see reason. Why would she be away?
Then explain that.
And he'll look at the letter. Is there any sort of like quick eyeball analysis I can do as I'm reading the letter?
Sure. Why don't you make a cunning memory test, I think. It's gonna be the best. Are you looking to see, if it's authentic or
not so much authentic. I'm trying to see. Well, authenticity would be nice, as well as if I can tell like where the paper might have come from, if there was any sort of seal on it, potentially like a vague time frame of the paper, possibly, like depending on how wet or brittle it is, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll do a cunning memory test for this.
Yeah, seems good. How about a 19?
Okay. On a 19, you can easily see the broken Gaunt seal that had kind of kept this letter to. The letter itself seems to be weathered. It's been exposed to the elements somewhere in its life, and some of the letter seems to have been hit by rain, which is probably more recent, although it's now kind of dried out. It's got that warp to it where paper has gotten wet, in addition to this kind of moldering that has happened. The handwriting you would recognize as Della's, which kind of plays into the cunning memory part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Very familiar with her writing. She was a prolific writer. She loved sending ravens to people and had a lot to say. The letter itself, I'll read to you really quickly if you'd like. It says, there are many secrets I should have told you, but there is no time now. Hear me one last time, Ada. I love you. I leave these words for you as everyone else is deaf to my warning. The corrupt line of old Valyria must be ended before the Mother of Beasts can walk the earth and scorch it with death and ashes. Seek my true siblings. Do what you must. I am sorry to take you from your home, but I choose you as my champion and couldn't let you fall. I shall not walk the longest night and shall rest when you succeed, Della. And you know that Della died half a year ago or more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So logic would say this letter had to have been written before she died.
Mm-hmm. Where did you find this?
As I said, Maester Horace delivered this to me the day before the feast, day of the hunt.
Oh, that little shit.
Anything?
As I said, Della was very, very sick. And
yes,
he has been holding on to
before.
this letter. And he has been holding on to this letter for months, at least.
Della had interests in, when I say occult things, she always had. But what happened to her between the night I saw her and the day she died? What? Anything? Yes.
Her illness progressed significantly.
How long? You speak of this illness as if it was prolonged. How long was this illness?
Charlie, how long would the illness have been?
You described the sickness that killed her as being very brief. The illness, you tell me how long Maester Otto believed she was ill.
She had been ill for quite some time, almost as long as I had been with the house. It was a very quiet illness. But not so quiet. But even then, the sickness in the end is what took her. And I hate that. I hate every aspect of it. It's loathsome. My job is to preserve life, to keep it. And instead she had to go home and be with the Seven.
And Otto, would you like to take an act in this moment?
Yeah, we're gonna go with I'm definitely influencing. I'm swinging persuasion on this.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like. So we're just gonna go ahead and roll with all of those lovely, lovely bonus dice I have.
I put some dates in the green room chat for
Appreciate
the cards, just
it.
to concrete what we've discussed previously in canon.
Did I do too many L's? Is that it? Yeah, there we go. 13.
13, yep.
1 degree then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that should only be 3 coming across.
Yeah, it'll be so bad.
We're gonna see who breaks first. That's what this is.
So when we talk about degrees, just to quickly cover it, it's every 5 points over your intrigue defense is another degree of success. If a player within this game rolls double an intrigue success, we move to our crit table, which is new to our cheat sheet for this. We've added social crits, which are very similar to the way combat crits work.
I wanted it to be confirmed. Yes, you're Horace before he passed. Said that Della expired not too long ago. I just wanted to know. But this madness in this letter, any of it, anything that you might know, anything that the family might know that might shed some light, should be said now.
Della's thoughts in this letter, and any others she might have given or sent to Horace, are hers and hers alone, not of House Gaunt. We would not plot against the crown, because that would be suicidal.
I am not asking if you had anything to do with this. I asked if there was anything in her behavior, anything that would shed light on why she is writing these, why she warned me, how she could have known. Speak of the dragons, her brothers. This doesn't sound like Adela I knew. And it pains me to have to talk to you or any of that family about this. But it has something to do with mine now, and I have lost one of our own to this. And I want to know who did this.
This is far different from what's affecting your family. Your family's affliction is far more earthly. This goes beyond the realm of politics and poisons, accepting poisons of the mind, poisons that come from beyond, that were brought onto this world through whatever uncleanliness plagues these lands. I do not blame you for this. I don't know what else I can tell you, but what I know.
If I find out that you or any of your family are holding back anything that could help me, help us figure out who did this, just want to give you a warning. Learn something from Redgrass. You don't need a cavalry, you don't need an army to take down a family, a force. You just need a moment of lapsed vigilance, recklessness, and one arrow. Keep that in mind.
Oh, I'm very well aware of how arrows
And I-
can be.
Do you? I've had to fire a good many myself.
But as I am trying to claim to Lord Astor, it is not in our interest to be set against you at this time, especially if what is happening here is a result of a plot against the kingdom. Be our feuds as they may be, something that threatens all of us, affects all of us, and we would do well to make sure we can band together against that.
Well, I certainly hope so. Because I'd rather, if I was in your shoes, I would hope you'd be beside me and not in front of me.
I pray that is the case too.
That's enough. You're dismissed. Get back to whatever duties you were doing to try and figure out what happened here.
Of course, my lady. Thank you.
I'd like you both to roll one final persuasion or deception-based influence roll. Whichever you feel best suits the attitude that you were last conveying in this conversation, just so that we can get an idea of what your last hits in this conversation felt like as you kind of end the intrigue. Thank you so much for that. I will take a look at that information shortly.
Okay.
Oh, thank you very much to Architect Origins, who I think just unleashed some more absolute power.
Oh boy.
The ripples of the previous absolute power being felt throughout the game already, but I will look forward to reading the latest one. Alright, so Matt, what are you rolling first?
Otto is rolling charm. He's actually trying to be conciliatory to an extent. And that totals out to 13 with his charismatic ability.
Yep. Hits.
Okay. And Shauna, what did you roll?
I rolled Intimidate for 9.
Yeah.
All right.
No, he's
Okay.
not at all.
So that's the lasting impression you have as you agree to part ways that this conversation is done.
And he'll slip out.
Yeah. I think at this point, Alan doesn't even that last portion was she wasn't even looking at him. She was like, as soon as it was she, in her mind, it's dismissed. She's like, he doesn't exist.
But I would say with the successful hit, to keep in mind that he would have come across as very genuine in his last words to you. Okay.
Yeah, it's genuine, but man, there's a lot of
There's a lot of anger.
Yeah, it's gonna
take a bit to sink in there.
Yeah. Oh, certainly. Yeah. And I think she'll sit back down and she'll just kind of put her just sit for a while and just put her her hands in her head, just kind of sit there.
Okay. And Adeline, as you sit there, you hear an echoing call of a raven as one returns to the keep. Astor, Nuno, I'd like you to tell me how you summon Otto to your meeting in the hall. Perhaps on the day of the petitions, or would you like this to be before then?
No, it can be on the day. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll say this is
probably,
the morning
yeah,
of
can be
then.
Nothing too fancy, nothing too like over the top. Literally just send someone to go to the Maester's chambers and say that Lord Astor would like to see him in the Great Hall for a little discussion. Very casual, you feel, Otto.
Casual is not something Otto feels in this house at all. Especially
This
after his
is-
initial
this is-
conversation with Lord Astor.
This is gonna feel so much, probably way better than it should be considering that last conversation.
I don't know. He's definitely not feeling. Let's just say he doesn't feel safe. He's felt less and less safe as time has gone on around here.
I mean,
Look at him, blame him.
feel that, yeah. I mean,
That's
Especially with Adeline's orders yesterday for like, if I'm not in the castle, you'll better be watching this Maester and those Gaunt men.
Yikes.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Yep. So he'll go. He has the quartet of Gaunt archers that basically accompany, and they'll wait outside the hall at his behest, and he'll come in and how's Astor looking when he comes in?
He's actually sitting on the house seat, but the moment that you come in, he will gesture to the guards to be stationed at the door, and he actually stands up and meets you in one of the side tables and gestures for you to sit down, eye to eye.
Thank you, my lord.
No problem at all. How have you been doing, Maester, these last few days?
The work has proved difficult, some of the most trying I've come across.
That's what I suspected. But are there any developments, anything you can divulge?
What I can say is there was something most certainly added to your wine supply, at the very least, from the feast. Appears
That
you
would
were poisoned.
definitely confirm the suspicions of poison. Okay. Tell me, Maester, you are an intelligent man, are you not?
I believe the chain around my neck says the Citadel at least believes I am an intelligent man, Lord Astor.
Ah, the Citadel might think you are capable and good at what they teach you, but intelligence requires something else. The chain alone doesn't make you apt for the real world, does it? But from the brief conversation that we've had, I do feel like you are indeed an intelligent man. Even smart, perhaps. Which sometimes it's rare for men as learned as yourself.
I do believe you're in the right there, Lord Astor. Proclivity for book learning does not always equal proclivity in the world of politics.
Correct. And because I have this feeling that actually you are indeed a smart man, I am willing to discuss a bit more openly. Last conversation we had was cut short by another visitor, but perhaps we can talk a bit more now.
If that is your wish, my lord, we may do so.
I am not going to tread carefully with my comments here, Maester Otto. You know how this looks. You know that although we have many enemies, there is a certain house that has been at odds for quite a while. And now they send their Maester and a squadron of men. Although I do not doubt that you are here to do your job, I might doubt the ulterior motives of your superiors. So,
That is,
carry on.
I say that is a very fair assessment, Lord Astor. and I do understand your position and how this might look to you as well. But please continue.
But, of course, I also consider myself a fairly intelligent man, and I know it is never good to put my eggs in one basket. I have compiled a little list of possibilities. And perhaps you can convince me to scratch some names off the list, if that is indeed what you believe as well. Starting with the Gaunt family, perhaps?
Of course. I did include House Gaunt in my own particular assessments of the situation. And in
Good.
this case, the reasons against House Gaunt. While we do have an ongoing feud, or I should say my lords have an ongoing feud with you, they also know that you had the Lord's will, Diffin, and Bywater here with you. Of those, at the very least, an indiscriminate poisoning such as this affecting young Lord Valerian would be highly disastrous should we be accused of it. I would have advised against such a thing, should anybody have suggested it. If we were to poison you, it would be more targeted. Closer.
Charlie, can I attempt to read Maester Otto at the moment to see if he's genuine or if he's hiding something?
Yeah, so let's do this as a read target action. So you're going to need to roll your awareness empathy. And this will be against Otto's passive deception.
That's a 14.
Yeah, I mean, he's indifferent to you, and as far as you can tell, he is being sincere in his assessment of this situation.
Okay. It is something I, too, have been struggling with. If the target was us, then why meddle with families that are loyal to the crown? And this is partially why I wrote down other names and simply didn't attribute it to House Gaunt. And also, not to mention the fact that affecting the entire house would potentially, and you see he's a bit like struggling with words, affect my sister, Tarla. And if
That is the other reasoning.
And if the plan was to take the house, then it would be much easier if she was alive, as the marriage was already arranged.
Very
So, yes,
astute, Lord Astor.
I think we're on the same page regarding this. Although I would request that you would keep this information to yourself. That we have this conversation, of course. At least
What
here,
conversation is occurring right now?
Very good. Very smart man. Next on my list. When the Lord Will left the house, he mentioned something that troubled me a little bit. Something about a sister? Does this ring a bell?
It does indeed. In my knowledge of the realms, House Will, a Dornish house, would proceed to the oldest heir of the line, regardless of their sex. In this case, the eldest Will is a lady.
Interesting.
A lady who has, if you believe the rumors, is having a succession battle within her own house. with her younger brother, a young lord by the name of Bastion Will.
It sounds way too convenient, though. Too easy, and if experience tells me, at least knowledge tells me, things that seem too direct are usually not true.
Indeed, wills are
The wills-
known for using poisons.
Exactly. Okay. Let us put a pin on this one.
Agreed.
But I've been talking a lot, Maester Otto.
Mhm.
Perhaps you
Of
can
course.
share someone from your own list?
Yes. I can dovetail it with your previous one. I'm certain you've also thought of House Baratheon.
Yes, I did. Carry on.
As you, of course, aware, there is difficulties between yourself and the Baratheons, but also the Baratheons are old enemies of House Will. Thusly, an indiscriminate poisoning would allow them to get all of their targets, as well as diffuse suspicion away from them, as the Baratheon approach is usually not one of the poison.
That is very interesting indeed. Get both their enemies out of the way, blame it on one of the enemies they got out of the way, and while they're at it, attack the crown as well by affecting young Lord Diffin.
One could call Diffin Valerian, in that case, collateral damage. Or perhaps part of another smokescreen. There is a final name on my list.
Let me guess. The Rebellion.
The Blackfyres.
Correct. It appears that it's true what they say. Great minds think alike.
Appears we are of a mind about this, Lord Astor.
Regardless, this does leave us in a position which is not very comfortable. We have 4 names, one we crossed out, the other one seems too obvious. But what to do about the other 2, Maester Otto? And this is where we arrive to my last question, my last topic of conversation for today.
Certainly.
What can you tell me of the relationship between Maester Orhus and a person by the name of Della?
How very telling you are the second person to ask me of that in my time here.
I assure you that my reasons for asking are probably not the same as other people's reasons.
That would seem so. Lord Horace, or Maester Horace, I should say, though I knew him in both capacities. He was a cousin, related to Lady Della. He was quite fond of her, really. It was sweet. I suspect it's part he volunteered to be installed here at Famine's Hold.
Charlie, for context, how long ago did Maester Orhus join our hold?
Maester Horace had been living in the hold for about 3 months.
Oh, okay.
He arrived around the time that it was kind of concreted that Tarla and Wendell would be married.
Perfect. Okay. Interesting. Would it be possible that this sudden volunteering might have been related to doing Della a final favor of sorts? I am aware that she has passed, correct?
Yes. It's very sad. It is possible that he did do that out of an attempt to follow some final act of kindness for her.
I see. Maester, are you a man that believes in weird happenings? Things unexplained by science, by numbers?
Well, I am a man of learning. As attached as I have become to House Gaunt, I'm also become a man of faith. 7. There are things in this world that we cannot always explain. But it is a part of grand design.
If one were to suggest, of course, that young Della might have some knowledge that wasn't hers to possess, something that she might have found out about by a strange happening or a weird revelation, would that ring any bell?
Revelations? No, I would not say revelations.
Would you call it something else?
It is not what I called it.
If it is not too much to ask, could you maybe share your thoughts?
I'm afraid, Lord Astor, I am not at liberty to discuss that. It is internal family business.
You can hear beyond the feast hall the sound of voices. You can see guards coming in through the servants' entrances into this room to stand as time is ticking on, and the peasants have arrived with their petitions.
It seems that my duty calls.
Of course. Lord Astor, if I might be so bold, would you wish for me to attend you as you hear the petitions, or would you prefer I continue work?
No, please, continue your work. Gather as much information as you can. Although, Maester, this information you're not at liberty to discuss might be crucial to understanding who's behind this, so we will be speaking again about this.
Certainly, Lord Astor.
Good luck.
And you as well. And he'll bow and make his way out.
Okay. Asta, do you have anyone in here to help you hold court? Previously, your man of horse, Bryce Rushton, may have been in attendance, your master of arms, Adeline, your maester, Horace, and then before that, the family's maester would have sat with your father, certainly for petitions. Jaime maybe would have been in attendance normally.
Given that everyone's dead or gone, Asa would make sure that Adeline was present.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, certainly. You have to maintain, appearance of strength. Gotta keep the small folk, believe everything's okay.
Or something like that.
As well as we can.
And so on your signal, the doors are opened and a steady line of people begins to form. Garen has kind of taken up the role of lead of the house guard, as Adeline has been. very busy in her business. And he kind of stands at the front with a hand out to stop the woman who's at the front of this line, whom you recognize as a member of your household. Tarla's lady's maid, Tarla, is stood there.
Oh, no.
And she fidgets with her dress and with her hair and kind of tries to peer around Garen to get eye contact with you, impatient for her summons.
Do come forward.
Oh, thank you, my lord. She kind of steps around him and stands before you. I hope you're having a very good day, my lord. I didn't want to trouble you, but I think it's only the right thing to do. You see, it wasn't me, all right? I didn't take it. Whatever they're telling you, it wasn't me.
Wait. Calm down. Take a deep breath, straight to the point.
It wasn't me!
That is not the point. Go straight to the point.
I don't know what you mean, my lord. I thought that was the point.
What happens?
That's why I'm here to tell you
What are you
it wasn't
talking
me. I've heard what the servants are saying. They're saying that I stole the brush and I didn't, my lord. I didn't take anything of Lady Tarla's.
I believe you. Do not worry. You can leave.
Just like that, my lord.
Yes.
Wait, when you say leave, you're not dismissing me, are you, my lord?
No. Go attend to your duties. Don't worry.
Yes, my lord. Thank you so much, Lord Astor.
Carry on.
And she kind of bows a lot and curtsies and then makes her way down the line, and she kind of turns to someone she knows and gives them kind of like a smile, and then she pats the arm of someone else and says, "He's a good lord, don't worry. I'm sure he'll sort your problems out," and disappears out into the castle. Next up in the line is a man in simple clothing. He holds his hat in hand, a full bushy white beard, but a slightly balding head. You see small sunspots kind of gathering on the tops of his cheekbones. He waits.
Come forward. How can I help you today?
My lord, I had petitioned your father before, and he did not hear me. My name is Carlin Brindle, my lord. And he stands,
Very
he
well.
kind of just waits.
Very well, Mr. Brindle. Tell me, what was this petition?
The storm destroyed my farm. Your farm, my lord. There is no food for the house, nor will I be able to pay the tithe I owe. But that was not the petition I made to your father, my lord, though it does relate. You see, my daughter had a child, my lord, by your brother, Sir Marcus. And your father made it clear I was not to bother him with such matters and dismiss me out of hand. But I hear there is a curse upon your family, my lord, which means there is a curse upon mine, for my sister would not lie. And he kind of moves a little, and behind him in line is a younger, not sister, sorry, daughter, is a younger woman with dark brown hair and blue eyes. And down in front of her, a small boy, must be no more than 2 or 3. Her hands rest on his shoulders. She keeps her head low, not making eye contact.
What does the boy look like?
He's young, he's got light brown hair. That's about all you can tell of him.
Okay. What is your daughter's name?
He turns his head. Rue, my lord. Rue Brindle.
Very well. Tell her to step forward.
You heard the Lord? And she steps forward. She pauses briefly to whisper into the young boy's ear, "Stay there." And steps forward. The boy stays where he's told, staring down much as his mother had.
Your father here expects me to believe this because you are honest and you would never lie. This house is becoming stronger by the day. Even with everything that has been happening, we are growing and entering a new age of prosperity. Would you lie and taint the name of the family in this new age? Just for your own benefit? This is not related to your farm. These are issues that I will attend to. This claim you make is much more grave. So tell me, look at me. Does she look?
Mm-hmm. She looks up.
Would you lie?
By the 7, I would not, my lord Astor.
Can I try and have a feeling for her disposition? If this is something she's been doing because her father told her to, or if it's has some inkling of truth or anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna, instead of awareness, I'm gonna tie this to cunning. Because you may recall things from previous courts and things like that. But let's do cunning empathy. So instead of awareness empathy, it's gonna be cunning empathy. You kind of scrutinize.
Yeah. Ugh. 10.
Okay. On a 10, you remember, upon seeing her look up, you vaguely remember seeing this woman before, although you couldn't put a finger on where. The fact that she called you my Lord Astor would be incorrect. You are Lord Tremaine in this house.
Mm-hmm.
And is an over-familiarity. It could be a misstep, could be something else. She doesn't appear to be being deceptive.
Okay. Very well. It is a bold claim you're making. Brindle family, is it?
Yes, my lord. We're not asking you to recognize him. I understand if you don't want to. We just ask that you help us feed him. We ask a little forgiveness for our tithe this season.
As per your first request, I will be sending a man with you back home. They will be making a report of all the damages the storm has made, and they will report back to me. Then I will take appropriate measures to make sure that the farming can continue. About the second topic, I'll have to think about it. It is easy to make these claims. I'm not saying you would lie, of course, but many would. I'll ponder. I'll investigate.
And if you tell me there is no curse, my lord, I will believe it. He raises his voice on the word curse, causing it to kind of bounce around the room a little.
Do not put stock in foolish tales. This family is not cursed. We are ascending. We are on the up curve. And if there was a curse, I wouldn't have survived. I wouldn't be here. And yet here I am, making it better day by day. And if you wish to speak louder in this room, don't. Otherwise your requests may fall on empty ears. But a promise has been made. At least the damages will be accounted for.
Nuno, I'd like you to make a persuasion test. Persuasion convince.
Ooh.
Unless you're being deceptive and you don't intend to keep your promise. At which point it'll be a deception convince.
It is convinced.
Or deception bluff, I would guess.
Oh, this is insane. 12.
The
Insane in a bad way.
You can roll today. I mean, you rolled a 6. I'm just always happy whenever a 6 arrives.
It's 3 1s, Charlie. 3 1s.
That's a 6. Okay. So he kind of gives you a measured look. It's not threatening or inciting. It's just he's weighing you up as the lord of this house, essentially. But then you see his daughter's hand kind of rest on his arm, and she whispers something to him that you don't catch. Probably, we should go. Mm-hmm. And she gives a deep curtsy to you, not saying another word, and turns to fetch her child, who has been stood all the while, head down, waiting.
I shall let them leave.
And the man follows. He gives a look back over his shoulder towards you and a side glance to someone else in line. And you notice now this line is extensive. There's a lot of people here.
As they are nearing the door, I raise my voice and address the entire room. If by any chance anyone here is going to mention the curse, then maybe it's best you go back to your home. I'm not going to repeat myself.
Okay, I am going to call this a status test. Or actually, no, let's call this willpower with any bonus from reputation, which is a status bonus.
Oh, okay, no. So wait, moves me. Okay, then it's just the straight. Oh no.
Oh no.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. 3.
So your words go out, and for a moment there's silence as your implied threat kind of carries forwards. But then the babbling begins. They're all turning to each other, they're all quietly whispering to each other. And the room is full of just a noise of people talking now, and there's an argument that breaks out further down the line, and you see patiently kind of waiting beside the door watching the scene is the man with his bushy beard, and he just shakes his head sadly and then steps out and through. And you're left in with this room in disorder, as they're now nervous. Should they leave? Should they stay? Did you know about the curse? Is there a curse? He's covering this up. No, he's not covering this up. How dare you? And it's just this whole disagreement as to what you've just said, as opposed to listening to, be quiet, just tell me what you want.
At this point, he'll just bang on the arm of his dragon claw seat. Silence! Using a voice that is not his own, much deeper, much louder.
Ooh, okay. All right, Nuno, what would you like to roll as you make this?
At this point, I think it's like
With
sheer. I'm the Lord's. Listen to me. So it would be status, straight up
Yeah.
status.
All right, we'll do status. That's cool. Any bonus dice from act will also apply as you are imitating your father or someone similar. Jamie,
Yeah.
I don't know whose booming voice you're imitating, but that's what I'm imagining. You're doing your best, like, I am the Senate. Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Can I
All right.
give
14. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Go
Never mind.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can I give Astor a bonus? Like she was probably sitting, now she's just standing and just kind of like looming next to Astor, and she just kind of like puts her cloak back just to put her hand on the weapon, just to be like
Okay,
just to make sure that she's the person in order, like things will keep orderly.
What we'll do then is, Shauna, if you roll me an extra d6, if you roll higher than a 4, we'll improve Nuno's roll by that.
All right. Oh no. Okay, that was a bonus dice at least.
Yeah, so Adeline stands up to back you up, which maybe, just gives you your own personal confidence.
Yes.
And silence does kind of trickle down until it is absolute. And all attention is on the Lord of the House.
As I said, I will, and kind of tone down a little bit again. I will not repeat myself. Next one, please step forward.
And next up is a man who is a butcher from the village. And he complains that 2 of his pigs have been stolen. And he accuses his neighbor.
And I presume that stating such accusations, you have some sort of proof?
I believe he took him on that barge that's gone missing. Because I haven't seen him either. And there ain't no one else that would be looking at my pigs, because everyone else here knows better. Fucking Bill.
And did your neighbor also leave?
Yes, his boat and went upriver with them, I imagine.
Interesting. At this point, like, Astor's kind of a little bit lost in thought as he heard the reports from Adeline about like the strange man in the woods and etc. and all these people stealing barges and the river, blah blah blah. So he kind of loses himself for a little bit. Yes. This Bill. Anything characteristic about him? Surely you would want us to catch the culprit of stealing your pigs.
Well, he's short, runty, and ratty. He likes the sheep too much. He becomes aware that everyone in this room is listening to him, and he's like, you know what? Fuck you, Bill. This is it. This is my chance.
All right. That won't be necessary. No. Thank you for your information. We shall reimburse you for one of the pigs. Apart from that, you can leave.
All right, my lord. It's very generous of you.
Wait. You speak with one of my guards. I want all the information you had about this missing pig, Bill, and their
2
disappearance.
pigs, my lady.
I don't care how many pigs. Speak to them.
All right. Thank you, my lord, my lady.
Carry on.
And he clears down. And the next few petitioners are all discussing damage from the storm.
Yeah.
You know, animals that have escaped, damage to roof, etc., etc. It's very much the same message. The storm did a lot of bad things that are going on.
So, same thing, I would probably send someone to make sure that the claims that they are making are indeed because of the storm and not because they just had something broken and suddenly, it was a storm! And trying to get away with it. So, yeah, I'll make sure that it's like properly documented and then as much as we can try and make it livable and profitable in the case of the farms without like wasting too much because we can't.
Next in line after those petitioners is the stable boy, who Adeline and Astor you're both very familiar with. He's basically Bryce, or was Bryce Rushton's kind of second in command, but he's a young boy, only 9 or 10.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Lord Tremaine.
Step forward.
I've never done this before, but Sir Rushton told me, should anything ever happen to him, I should come to you, my lord, and ask that I be knighted. And his voice, like, cracks.
Oh, did he now?
Yes, my lord. He said, I would be in charge of all the horses and all of Lord Astor's men, and that I would be the greatest knight if I kept my boots on the right way round.
Good.
And I have always kept my boots on the right way round, Lord Astor Tremaine, sir. And I've always kept your horse well fed, and I give him the extra brushes like you told me to, too.
That is true. What was this? What is this kid's name?
His name, let's call him... I don't know, what should we call him? Has anyone got a name suggestion? Dearest beloved cast? Everyone leans into Google. Tim?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right.
Tim. Yeah.
Tim?
Tim.
Let's call him... Let's just call him Timothy Hay, because I find that funny. But it's one of those, like, you know, he's the orphan kid. No one really know where he came from. He said his name was Tim or Timothy, and it was like, Timothy Hay, that's your name now, you're the horse boy.
Poor kid. Sure.
I mean, thankfully it had something to do with horse, otherwise who knows what this kid would have said. Oh.
You know, Tim, Bryce Rushton was a very noble man. He had his head screwed the right way around. He knew what he was talking about. So if he said this, if he told you to come here, then probably it's true. But we don't give knighthoods lightly here. You're young. You'll have to train and practice. And all of that starts with taking care of the horses. First, you do a good job. Next, maybe you become a squire. And once you've trained enough and keep your boots the right way around, then maybe you can actually become a knight. And if Bryce Rushton told you so, I have no doubt that you'll achieve it. What do you say? Do you want to start that path?
No, is Astor being sincere in his promise that if this boy does all the right things, he will become a knight? Or is there like any hint of, I'm just telling the kid what he needs to hear? I'm a busy man who's got like 12 more people who are probably going to want money out of me.
So I think it's a bit of both. It's like in the immediate moment, it's like, okay, sure, whatever, kid. But he's also aware that motivation is a great driving force. And if a random kid from the stables puts his heart into it, then maybe in the future he'll achieve to something. Anyway, many hedge knights probably came from worse places. So yeah, it's like double thing. It's like, all right, leave me alone, but while I'm at it, let me at least boost your motivation. And if you truly want it, then you'll work towards it, kind of situation.
Okay, because that is kind of a hint of, you're not immediately planning on doing shit all about this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call this a deception charm.
Okay.
Or
Charm.
or bargain.
Okay. Would I be able to bargain for insight instead? So I'm driving him to do something.
Insight is more to pit people against each other, or to kind of incite them into like a rebellion, or.
Sure. In that case, just where is it? My deception.
Unless you wanted to incite him and be like, if you clear that entire hayloft, we'll get you some new boots, kind of like as an insight type thing in that way. But
it's kind of the situation of drive him to act. That's my understanding of insight, but if it's not the game's understanding, it's fine.
I'm thinking of like a more immediate action though. Driving him to just generally behave.
Okay.
I don't think is an insight.
So
yeah.
Just deception charm.
Yeah,
So
I think
just
so.
deception. Cool. 7.
Or convince. You could use convince if you'd like.
Oh, okay. Yes, I would very much like so. I'm just going to roll the extra 2 and take the lowest. Yeah.
The thing I like about the system is you can kind of mix and match to kind of figure out what feels the character in the situation.
Oh my.
Oh, it is 7.
Oh. So, all right. Well, you should know then, my Lord Tremaine, that we are lacking in a master of horse and hound. And whilst Sir Bryce Rushton was very good at telling me what to do, there's no one telling me what to do. And I know my duties, but I don't know which horses are meant to be with which horses, and you sold our last 11. I mean, the last 11 that were ready. You sold them to the Wells. The Wells live in Dawn.
Yes, I did. Very well, Tim. Worry not, I am aware of our problems. As Lord of this house, I will make sure that someone else will be there to guide you. Meanwhile, just do what Bryce would tell you to do. Think of him. Every time you have a job to do, think of him looking over your shoulder, making sure that you're actually doing things correctly.
He's telling me to ask you to pick someone who's kind and good to the horses, my lord.
I would never do anything else. The horses are very important. Gentle creatures. They need someone gentle in response as well.
And extra apples on Sundays.
Go on, Tim.
And he kind of goes, kind of skirted off. Garen kind of swats him on his way past. And Tim goes out.
Yeah.
And you see a line of grim-faced petitioners who weren't very entertained by what happened. They were like, oh, good. This is what nobles are doing. All right. We're all here starving and this is what's going on. And there's a number of complaints. Someone ate someone's cat. It continues to sound stranger and more barbaric, but you kind of realize over the course of this that a lot of people are asking you for things. A lot of people are hungry right now, and the storm has had a massive impact. And there's a lot of fear that they're not going to be able to pay you primarily, and that's a big problem. And also, a number of people are here just seeing who's in the house and what's going on in the house. A couple of people who have come here, they have a problem, but it's kind of a thing they could live with, but they've come to, see what's happening up at the castle.
Fair enough.
And as you kind of
my
decide...
tree fell down.
Yeah. And as you kind of decide one way or another, a few people have filtered out. And a few people have stayed, seeing that you are giving people money and you're giving them help. And
Yeah. So I think overall, for all the storm damage, it's make sure everything is enough to continue working, as in don't stop production of anything. About the food, as much as we can spare, but not overdo it. But no intense repairs will be carried on until we are in a better financial situation. So it's just a matter of patching things up to make sure that people can work.
And kind of last in the line, kind of a patient man who's been watching and waiting, is an older knight of the house. He's not part of the house guard, but he's a hedge knight who has done dealings with your father. You've seen him around.
Yeah.
My lord, I'm here to request information on what you are doing to protect these lands. You fed the village and helped them repair it. But I heard word that Lady Allegra sent a letter to King's Landing that said the house was under attack. And I've seen people moving out of these lands because they know there's a curse on this house. Whether there is or not, I don't give a damn. But I've settled here. And I want to know if you need an army.
I appreciate your concerns. They are not founded, and it is normal to worry about these things, but let me assure you that this curse is a fool's gossip. People like to chat. There's no curse. Simply the doing of men. And this doing of men is not solved with armies. We have enough to protect our lands and our borders. Problems lie elsewhere, and that is nothing for you to concern about. It's very unlikely that it will hit you. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the dealings of nobility, but their targets are not the people or hedge knights.
No, but they're the people who bleed, my lord, when the target is in a castle on a hill. They're the people who bleed, my lord, when words don't cut as deep as the lords want them to. My lord, I'm sure you are doing what you can, but what people say and what people see matters. People see people leaving. People say you're cursed. Say Lady Allegra said you were under attack.
We said there will be no curses. We have rolled the roads as we have done before this. Despite everything, despite what has happened here, we maintain law in this, and you are protected. We have made sure we have run ourselves ragged to keep you safe. If you have any specifics on how we can, I am more than open. Privately, tell me what needs to be done.
What Lady Adeline is trying to say is, we've had a track record of upholding the law in our territories, and we do not intend on letting that slide. As I said, I have no reason to believe there will be any large-scale conflict coming our way, so do not worry about the blood being spilled outside the castle walls. Worry about blood being spilled inside them. We shall continue with what we've been doing. But I will heed your call. I will make sure that our regular patrols maybe show some signs of strength to reassure everyone else that we're fine. Because
if you fear blood being spilt inside them, my lord, then enlist me. I'll swear to your house.
You have settled here for quite a long time now. Why do you come to me with soft?
I see which way the river is running, my lord, and it seems that dark times are upon us. And I remember what happened just across the river, in the field. And I remember before that what happened with the dragons that fought. It always starts small, my lord. And it always starts with 1 or 2 being taken. Doesn't it, my lord?
Yes. Yes, it does. Tell me, how many battles have you fought before Redgrass?
There were no battles before Redgrass for, 15 years or more? But I was fighting, my lord. There is always a fight, always something to be fought for.
Perhaps short skirmishes? Would that count? Just give me a number.
As you like, my lord, a number. How does 12 fare you?
12 is good. As you're probably aware, Radgrass was my number 1. And here I am. So I appreciate what you're saying. Things start small. Why not move away from the mess then? Why stay? Why offer a pledge?
Is that your lord's counsel or is that your lord's insight?
Perhaps a bit of both.
I think Adeline kind of like leans over to Astor. It's like, maybe this is something we discuss not in the court.
I just want to see something. So tell me, why stay?
I hadn't had reason to move before. It's near to King's Landing, my lord, where there are always great tournaments. Near to a number of other places as well, which are convenient for someone in my profession.
Very well. Your argument has not convinced me. I shall consider this. Return here in a week's time, if you still wish to stay. Then we will converse more. Is that agreeable?
1 week, my lord, in dark times. An interesting week.
If you are so worried, perhaps stick around. Stay close. I shall call upon you if I have need of your services earlier.
As you say, my lord. And he kind of gives a stiff bow, and he gives one to Adeline as well.
Good.
If you wish for that meeting, my lady.
Muted.
Can't hear you, Shona.
Certainly. We'll talk later.
And he nods and leaves. And it's been a long-ass morning. And looking up at the windows, you realize it must be pushing into the afternoon by now. The sun is high and it's streaming in. And by kind of the equivalent of Westerosi 5 o'clock, it's going to be streaming straight down onto your chair. You can kind of see it progressing along. But you are kind of left alone, save for the members of the house and the servants who are kind of preparing for lunchtime here in the castle.
Okay.
Glad that's over.
It's a complete waste of time. I have other things to think about. Well, I guess not a complete waste of time. People need help. Anyway,
People need
let's
help,
eat
but
something.
I worried about handouts and I worried about that curse.
It's not
Too much
handouts.
curse talk.
It's not handouts. We need things to function. Otherwise, everything will collapse.
Not the people, but the boy and the pigs. How long until?
The pigs, that is information. That is something we can do. have your men come back with information from this pig owner. It might be related to the search.
Yeah, certainly someone missing around the same time, especially with speak of that barge. It's warranted some investigation.
Yes, that seems very suspicious. As for the boy, he's a damn boy. It was me 80 years ago. Let the boy alone.
Oh, not that boy. The first one. Bastard.
That is
quote unquote bastard.
That is very problematic. There's something familiar about that girl, you know?
Yes.
I feared. I fear it might have an inkling of truth. Nevertheless, we cannot afford it to be truth now, so we need to do something about it.
It's we can look into once present crisis is calmed down.
Exactly. The problem for later. They've waited 2 years. They can wait a few months more at least.
I'll check the records if there's anything from my father wrote in there.
Please do.
Child.
It would be useful.
I'll keep you updated.
Yeah. I'll try and remember something else about the girl. Something's really familiar. Anyway, eat. It's late.
Panning across the castle to the industrious maester's quarters. Also, your room has been a flurry of feathers today, as word is being sent to House Tremaine from a number of places. You've received letters marked with seals from House Gaunt, House Will, House Bywater, and another couple of neighbors in the local area, Rosby and... I've lost track of the other name, but it's not super important. It's not a super high level house. It's a neighbor of Tremaine. I will look up.
Yeah, no worries. Well, obviously the one from House Gaunt, that one gets read because that's news. That's worth news. What else? Like, are they marked to anybody specifically, or?
House Gaunt is addressed to you. From House Will, it is addressed to Lord Tremaine. Lord Bywater also addresses Lord Tremaine. And the letters from Rosby and this other house, whose name I can't find, is also to House Tremaine.
Well, let's read the one from Gaunt first and see what it has to say.
Okay. Maester, return home. The Lady Allegra is petitioning the court of the king to dissolve the alliance between our house and House Tremaine. Nesta Otto. Nesta, go on, you're Otto. I'm good at names.
It's fine. It's all good. Oh. So it's to be that, is it? Very well. At that point, then he will. I don't know. Does Otto think he's going to be coming back anytime soon?
With the mess, maybe. But
yeah. So at that point, no, he'll be polite. He's a goddamn professional. So he will gather up the letters, and take them to where Astor would be at this point after he makes the proper inquiries.
okay, so you find Astor, I imagine, picking over the remains of his meal, having suffered through a large day of people complaining, and people worrying, and people prodding and poking at him. Shauna, would Adeline still be in here eating, or has she gone about business? Muted.
Oh, muted.
Yes, she's still eating. It probably took her a while to kind of settled.
Lord Tremaine.
Yeah, oh, Maester, yes, how can I help you?
The day's correspondence, and I am here to inform you that my time here at Famine's Hold is at an end. I have been recalled by House Gaunt. It appears your sister is petitioning to dissolve our alliance in King's Landing.
What?
Really?
And I'll let them see the letter, as long as there's nothing else sensitive in there.
That is literally all it said. It was a very short letter.
Yes, Lord Nestor himself has confirmed it.
When will you be departing then?
As soon as possible. My men are packing things up now.
A serving girl arrives to top up the wine in Lord Tremaine's cup and to offer Maester Otto a plate of food.
No, please.
Please, I insist. At least it's the least we can do, given the circumstances. Have one last meal with us.
If that is your wish, my Lord Tremaine.
Of
Thank
course.
you. He'll sit and share the meal with them in a very, very terse silence.
Mm-hmm.
Maester, I'm afraid now that we were beginning to make progress on getting to the bottom of this, these news are troubling. My lady sister might have gone a bit too far this time.
You think so, Lord Astor?
But if what you told me before is true, then you truly are dedicated to make sure that we get to the bottom of this, are you not?
I am most dedicated to making sure that the interests of House Gaunt are secure.
In that case, you are aware that if we reach a conclusion regarding the authors of this attempted mass murder, then there will be no accusation left for House Gaunt, and all of this, and point at the letter, is irrelevant.
That
Surely
would
you
be
can
so,
see that.
yes.
In which case, as I told you before, the information I requested you told me might be crucial in pointing fingers.
Indeed.
I hope I can convince you to disclose it before you leave.
The truth is little better. And I am bound by oath to serve my house.
No offense, and I do not wish to insult your intellect, Maester, but helping me put these claims to rest is serving your house.
I think I would like you to roll for that, Nuno, to
Okay.
Yeah.
see
Yeah, 'cause
how
this is-
effective an argument that was. I'm going to give you 2 bonus dice based on basically your previous interactions with the Maester and what you've just said.
Okay, so this is convince, yeah?
Persuasion, convince, yes.
And my bonus dice cannot be more than... Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
got it.
then your persuasion rank.
Yeah, so it's just the same number. 17. Still crappy, but yeah.
That's actually 2 degrees of success, even against
Ooh!
those.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
nice.
Okay, so just for the sake of this, we'll say that that's a success.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
the persuasion will land.
Okay.
He'll stare very, very thoughtfully. Della was mad. She ranted and raved, and they were content to keep her. To keep her simply until somebody died. And after that, it was ruled that she was possessed and was a witch. The Gaunts are very pious people. They don't take that accusation lightly.
Ooh, I think at that, Adeline stands up, puts her bow, like she eats with her, like her bow in her lap. She puts it on her back. In the same motion, she takes an arrow out and just points it at us. Whatever it may be, remember. And make sure the family knows as well. And she'll walk out. She'll storm out.
Yeah, when Adeline does that, Astor just stands up immediately, as in, nope, nope. And when she walks out, it's like a metric ton off his shoulders. I apologize for that, Maester. You have been nothing but helpful since you arrived.
She comes by it honestly. To be honest, Lord Nestor wanted her put down after she tried to kidnap Della. I advised against it, saying it would be a complex situation, to say the least, to have that happen.
It would have. Very much so. One last thing, Maester. You say people said she was possessed. Do you believe this?
I believe she was ill, and I would very much have liked to have studied her, to try and figure out the manner of ailment, and possibly even provide some level of succor. But as I said, once someone died, once she killed someone, it grew beyond my control, as it were.
Of course. I understand. If I were to tell you that the letters that kind of look at the door, Della sent Adeline 6 months prior, or even longer, pointed towards this happening here. The hunt, the feast, the poisoning. What would you say to that?
I would say that even in death, Della has doomed our house, or doomed the Gaunts anyway. But there might be a way. I will have to discuss and advise as best as I can. It's not impossible for us to deal with this matter, but those letters, they didn't leave the hold, did they?
Not the ones that I'm aware of. All of them are with Adeline. I do not know if there were more.
Because if they left the hold, then there will be discussions as to what to do about that.
It might be wise to remind you that if the letters did leave the hold, they came in through Maester Orus's devices, not House Germain.
Indeed. But even if a dead man brought them in, a dead man's not taking them out. That's not my concern at this point. What's done is done. What we can do now, that's what lays before us. Like it or not, we're going to have to deal with it.
I fear this will be the last civilized discussion we'll have for a long time, Maester, which is a pity.
It very much is, Lord Astor. I must say I've grown to have a strange fondness for this place and your people in the short time I've been here.
It is very kind of you to say. Regardless, let us try and solve things amicably. This needs not to end in more trouble for both houses.
I very much agree. If you can send word to your sister as best you can.
I will.
Thank you.
And I expect that you return to House Gaunt with a positive message from your time here, at least. That might be enough to soften the blow.
I will do what I can.
I trust you will.
Thank you.
And for what it's worth, I think our prime suspects just became the Blackfyres.
Indeed, maybe so.
Very well. I believe we are done here. Hope we meet
Thank you,
again
man.
on better terms.
As do I, Lord Astor. It would not do to be in a decline.
Agreed.
And he'll clear things off and give him a very deep bow. My lord.
Maester.
Renato will leave.
Matt, do you leave the remaining letters with Lord Astor, or are you just taking those with you as you move from the table?
No, he's leaving the letters. He
What?
once more, he's a damn professional. That's
Nice.
He could
Okay.
have, and he didn't.
Could have.
And he wants them to remember that.
So Astor, you were left with letters from Uncle Bywater. You would presume, because it's a House Bywater, from Will, and then 2 from neighbors.
Okay.
House Staunton, I found the name now, and House Rosby.
Okay.
And the Maester leaves, and so do we for this week.
Hey.
As we kind of hit our hard limit a little while ago, but that's all right. So we're going to do a super fast wrap up today. We will be setting agendas for these characters over on the Discord. I think we'll discuss it during the week. If you have any theories, please do throw them in the Discord. It's the best place to go. And we will also be on that Crown Lands World Anvil. So if you need to check your theories against the facts, we will have the facts up there for you to find. Thank you so much for playing today. Nuno, where can we find you?
You can find me online at jnunotx and in 50 minutes over at twitch.tv/chromatic playing some D&D. Everyone.
Whoop, whoop. And Shauna, where can we find you, friend?
You can catch me flying Cirrus on Twitter, where I have where I post where all my games are at, as well as art.
Awesome. Please do check out Shauna's art. You can see some of it on the screen right now. Thank you so much, Shauna. And Matt, thank you so much for being our wonderful guest for the last 2 episodes. Where can we find you, friend?
It has been lovely. Thank you so much. You can find me at The Killer GM on Twitter. That is at The Killer GM. I'll post about stuff I do on there. Most recent thing happening should be in a couple weeks. I am showing up to the newest episode of Dreadful Beat of DJ Strahd.
Thank you so much. And thank you all so much for hanging out and watching with us. If you're on YouTube, please consider hitting that follow, like, subscribe, and bell, and all of the fun buttons down there that give you the dopamine rush. You're doing a good thing. And please leave us a comment on there as to who should be getting the stab. Thank you all so much. If you're watching live, please join us again tomorrow for Fall of London, a Vampire Masquerade new chronicle from Paradox Entertainment and Modifius. Until then, try not to roll too many nat ones because we want to be there laughing when you do. Good night, everyone.